What's up guys, Ruppy here, and welcome to the very first week of Season 2 of the BBR D-League. It's gonna be an interesting season to say the least, as my Columbus Swoo prepare to take this new journey with the new roster we have, seeing if we can bounce back after, well, my UNPL run ended unceremoniously. I can't fault Gentleman Thomas though. He got me that game, end of story. But new team, new season, new league, but there's some familiarity here as we try to start from the bottom and work our way back up into the main league. Because I don't know who put this schedule together, but they have a very interesting sense of humor, I will say that. The reason for this is because my Week 1 opponent is the new Britain Rockruff, coached by DyeItTight. For those of you who have not seen my Season 2 run in the BBR main league all the way back in the day, let me fill you in on why this is interesting to me. Back in BBR Season 2, Dye's team pretty much ran roughshod over everyone. He had the league kill leader in Mindshao, and he was basically a heavy favorite to go all the way. My Columbus Swoo roster that season, however, had a bit of a... we started strong, had a bit of a mid-season collapse due to some personal issues I was dealing with at the time. That certainly threw me off. But we somehow made it into playoffs as the 8th seed on basically a miracle. And when it came time for the two of us to actually play in the very first round, I ended up shocking everyone by pulling off the Cinderella upset of that season, when I knocked Dye out, courtesy of Trick Room Hatterene deciding it was not gonna have any of that. It just wanted to win. So yeah, Dye and I have a bit of an interesting past with one another, pertaining to BBR specifically. The good news for him is I don't have Hatterene on this roster. But it is still gonna be very interesting all the same. I am very much expecting him to bring a lot of heat to try to get that win back from me so many years later. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to try to prevent that from happening and get a good start to this season. So let's go ahead. As you see, my team is chilling out in the locker room. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out. As we're going to go ahead and flip on over to Showdown, our team builder, our chalkboard. And we are going to get this going. His team will be appearing off to the right, and it is as follows. Deoxys Speed, Iron Hands, Enamorus, Empoleon, Krookodile, Cyclozar, Deoxys, Ogerpon, and Qwilfish. Cyclozar is also his Terra Captain. And that is, in fact, the regular Ogerpon, which means it is not confined to a mask. It can pretty much hold whatever item it sees fit. Not gonna lie, there is a lot about this team that is cause for concern. He has a ton of hazard options. Only Cyclozar is able to spin, though, so there is that. But he has a ton of options for setting up hazards. Deoxys Speed is nigh impossible to outspeed for the most part. And has the potential to hit hard if he wants to run an offensive set. That thing can actually do a lot of things. It is a very versatile mon. Cyclozar as a Terra Captain is interesting. There's a lot of defensive Terras it could definitely run. With Regenerator, that thing is going to be a pain to pin down and take out. Ogerpon. One thing he's got that actually kind of took away a lot of the options I could have considered for this game is a lot of abilities that really mean I have to play cautiously in certain respects. Things like Ogerpon having Defiant, Enamorus potentially being able to have Contrary, Empoleon with Competitive. Those kinds of things have given me cause for concern, and I've had to rethink some of my initial plans I wanted to bring into this game. Of course, he also has things like Krookodile and Qwilfish that could also intimidate. I'll give him this. He definitely has a team that could potentially function better in Trick Room, so he doesn't run into the same issue that I pulled on him last time with Hatterene. Granted, I don't have Hatterene, and I'm not bringing Trick Room to this game, but I can see him definitely trying to make sure he does not lose to that possibility again, considering Deoxys can set Trick Room. Deoxys-S can set Trick Room, which I don't know if he would consider that, but it is an option. I did run into that in my meme game in the final week of UNPL Season 4. And Iron Hands is definitely one of the better Trick Room offensive mons. So that is definitely something I need to be wary of. So let's go over my team, and we will get into how I plan on dealing with everything he's got to throw at me. Because one thing I love about my roster is, I think unlike some of my past rosters, one thing I definitely like about this roster is that I have a lot more cohesion when it comes to being able to put together full-on game plans, as opposed to, I think, what has become my go-to tactic in past seasons with past rosters, which is why some have worked and some have not, of just bringing the 6 best and trying to, no real cohesion between them, just, yeah. So let's get into what I am bringing, and it begins with my Grimmsnarl, Master Org, named after the main antagonist of Power Rangers Wild Force. Yeah, I'm a lifelong Power Rangers fan. What of it? The set itself is relatively standard. I've got Light Clay, Prankster, Screens, Taunt, Play Rough. Play Rough keeps Grimmsnarl from being completely passive, just in case I need it, especially since his team does have a bit of a fairy weakness that I'm looking to exploit to some degree. The EV spread is definitely anything but. I've got 136 investment in both defenses, which along with an Impish Nature? Yeah, Impish Nature. Basically it gives me even defenses, which when combined with the 232 HP investment certainly gives me a lot of bulk to give Grimmsnarl longevity, because this thing's main purpose in this game is pretty much being my screener. Taunt allows me to shut down his hazard setters, especially Deoxys Speed, because I don't think I'm shutting that thing down from setting hazards otherwise, unless I run a really fast Scarfer just to Scarf Taunt, which, it's an option, but it feels like a waste of a Taunt in that scenario, honestly. So that is basically Grimmsnarl's main purpose. I do have the remaining 4 EVs I had left over put into attack so that Play Rough is hitting just a little bit harder, but I definitely had to be worried with Prankster. He does have Krookodile, which is immune to Prankster, but honestly, the only thing I really would have wanted to... I mean, Light Screen and Reflect aren't going to matter in the face of Krookodile. He can't stop me from setting that up because it's not against him. And while I can't taunt it, Krook really doesn't want to be in on a Play Rough anyway. But yeah, Taunt just really helps me shut down his hazard setters, since he does have a lot of them. And with the bulk, I should hopefully have the longevity so Grimmsnarl can keep coming in and out, setting up screens, and basically being an overall nuisance. That then leads to my next mon, Thermidor the Rotom-Heat. I've got leftovers to be able to recover HP. I'm running Overheat, Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp, and Light Screen as my set. This is a very bulky set. 48 speed EVs with a timid nature, I believe is just enough to always outrun a timid max speed Empoleon, unless he scarfs that thing. Just because I want to be able to always outrun Empoleon so that, unless he scarfs it, it is never of a threat to Rotom-Heat whatsoever. I can always pivot out on it. I've got the even bulk investment, the 232 HP again. 28 special attack EVs is enough to do the job. Rotom-Heat is really mostly here to kind of join Grimmsnarl in being a nuisance. Overheat is just strong Fire Stab. Volt Switch allows me to be able to pivot around. Grant, I cannot use it against Krookodile, but I don't think that thing really wants to be eating Overheats, and it really can't threaten me with Earthquake anyway because of Levitate. Will-O-Wisp is the main thing I'm going with on Rotom-Heat here, because his team is very heavily leaning towards the physical offense side of things. Either that or mixed attackers. He does have some special attackers in there, but a lot of his offense is more geared towards physical offense, or being mixed, which this Rotom-Heat set actually kind of shuts that down pretty nicely. Enamorus definitely does not want to try to take on Rotom-Heat if it's a more especially offensive set, because Rotom can eat that all day long. Will-O-Wisp allows me to burn all of his physical attackers, kind of spread that throughout his team, really try to take away his viable options, because, again, his team is very physically leaning. And I have Light Screen kind of as a bit of a as a bit of a backup, just in case I lose Grimmsnarl, because with all of his physical attackers burned with, or mixed attackers burned with Will-O-Wisp, Light Screen allows me to shut down the special end of things, and definitely keep him on the back foot. So Grimmsnarl and Rotom-Heat are basically here to kind of just weaken him in terms of the offensive capabilities of his team in one form or another, and be overall nuisances because of it. That then leads to the third member of this trio that is basically going to be the core of my game plan, that being my own Terra Captain, Porygon 2. Or should I say, Pomni. Yes, I'm a fan of the Amazing Digital Circus, and yes, I had to nickname Porygon 2 Pomni. It felt right to me. As I said, Pomni is my Terra Captain. I am running Eviolite because Porygon 2 has absurd bulk with Eviolite. Especially with this investment I'm running. A 60 Spadef EVs plus a Calm Nature along with 196 Defense EVs actually means that as long as I have my Eviolite, as well as the 232, 369 I got going here for HP, unless he's got some boosts up, or he's running something that is very offensive choiced, Bander specs. Scarf's not going to do the job in that respect. He does not have anything that can really one-shot Porygon 2, even without screens up. And with 20 special attack EVs, Porygon 2 can slowly wear things down. It's here to kind of just chip away at things. With Recover, I can keep it healthy so it's not dying. Though obviously the PP of all recovery moves got nerfed this gen. I'm running Terra Blast, Ice Beam, and Discharge. Ice Beam and Discharge gives me Bolt Beam coverage. And Discharge in particular actually works incredibly well for this game, because of the fact that in addition to the burns from Rotom-Heat and Will-O-Wisp, I can spread status throughout his entire team. If it can't be burned, it doesn't want to be burned, then I can try to paralyze it with Discharge, especially some of his faster things to try to slow them down. Terra Blast is also an interesting option because if I don't Terra, it's technically normal stab. It's basically the equivalent of Tri-Attack. But I'm running Terra Fairy for this game because of the aforementioned Fairy weakness, and the fact that a lot of things that could potentially threaten Porygon 2, or at least in terms of its fighting weakness, Fairy kind of flips that on its head and gives me a little more oomph because of Terra Blast now exploiting their weakness. But even if I don't Terra Blast is still technically stab, so it actually kind of works out really nicely for Porygon 2. I'm also running Trace as my ability for this game, because, as I said, he has a lot of abilities that, honestly, he probably would not want Porygon 2 to have, which kind of makes him really think about what abilities he wants to bring. Ogerpon's kind of stuck with Defiant, but Defiant really doesn't benefit Porygon 2 that much. It's there, though. Regenerator from Cyclozar would be really useful for if I want to switch Porygon 2 out to regain some HP. Contrary with Enamorus would be interesting. It would really make him it would make him think twice about trying to lower my stats. Competitive with Empoleon. If I can get competitive off of Empoleon with Trace, then that makes the likes of Krookodile and Quillfish kind of hindrances to him if he does bring Intimidate on them. There is also the fact that, I could also potentially take Poison Point away from Quillfish if he wants to run that instead, which then makes his physical attackers also susceptible to stats in that regard as well if they try to make contact. So he has a lot of abilities that would really be to his detriment if Porygon 2 ends up with them through Trace. So he's gonna definitely have to play cautiously with that. Those three are not only my more defensive options for this game, they are also the core of my main strategy. Because with screens on my end and status spread throughout his end, it really opens the door for my sweepers. But I'll get to them in a moment, because first we need to talk about Ursaluna, who I have nicknamed Artemis after the goddess of the hunt. This is a basic Ursaluna set. I've got Assault Vest. Guts really makes him think twice about running Poison Point on Quillfish if he doesn't want to go Intimidate. Because if he doesn't want to risk either of those options for one reason or another, he would have to run Swift Swim then on Quillfish, which doesn't really benefit him unless he's trying to set Rain this game. And it also makes him think twice about trying to set Toxic Spikes with Quillfish. which would definitely be appreciated because he does not want to be giving me Guts. Assault Vest, with the investment I've got, basically makes Ursaluna a very difficult to take down tank, kind of similar to Porygon 2 with its Eviolite. 84 attack EVs, it's not enough to necessarily OHKO most of his roster, but it is enough to basically break down his walls to set up my intended win cons, which, again, I'll get to in a moment. Earthquake, Ice Punch, and Drain Punch pretty much cover his entire team. The Ground Ice Fighting coverage, as I said, it pretty much covers everything, and definitely keeps him on the back foot for questioning what do I even send in on this thing. I'm also running Brick Break. I debated running Play Rough in this slot because, again, he's got a Fairy weakness on top of the Ice and Ground weakness that Ursaluna especially is looking to exploit in this game. But I thought it was redundant because all the things that are hit by Fairy super effectively are already weak to one of the other options that Ursaluna's running. So instead, I opted to run Brick Break in this slot. It seems redundant as fighting coverage, but he does have the potential to throw up his own screens, especially from the likes of Deoxys-Speed. So Brick Break gives me some fighting coverage that allows me to smash that down to be able to address that issue and keep screens off of his side of the field. You're not going to be stopping Ursaluna that easily, Dye. I'm sorry. But those four are basically here to open the door for my two potential win cons. Let's begin with Metagross, Terabyte. I hope you guys enjoy that little pun. You remember what I did with Gyarados as my Terra Captain in the recent season of UMPL? Well, Metagross is kind of running off of that same philosophy for this game, to some degree. As I said, Earthquake and Ice Punch pretty much exploit two of his biggest weaknesses and cover the vast majority of his team. I've got Iron Head for Stab to especially address some of his Steel weaknesses, or just as a really strong stab hit in general. And I have Agility Weakness Policy. I benchmark so that with an Agility, I will always outrun Scarf Krookodile at +2, even if he's going Jolly Max Speed. I can also outrun everything that is not named Deoxys-Speed if he is not running any Scarfers between Cyclizar, Ogerpon, or Enamorus. If he does run Scarfers on them, kudos, but I have the bulk investment to be able to address that, even without screens. There is not a whole lot, unless he's running, again, Band or Scarf, that really OHKOs this Metagross set, and the screens definitely make it significantly harder, which basically gives me all the options in the world to be able to get my weakness policy activated, especially since he has a lot of things that can run knockoff, which just feels like an easy setup at that point. Get the agility, eat a knockoff or any other super effective hit, proc the weakness policy, and then Terabyte pretty much goes to town. Because with that weakness policy activated, I think the only thing that naturally lives any hit from this Metagross at +2 is Iron Hands. I think its natural bulk allows it to be able to just barely live an Earthquake without any prior chip. But everything else, he would have to go extremely physically bulky to be able to live a hit from this Metagross at +2. And that is definitely going to make things a little interesting. Of course, with Ursaluna being my wall breaker and status spread throughout his team, that will hopefully make that significantly easier to be able to bring Metagross in, get that set up, and then get those KOs. If that option is not available, however, or if Metagross isn't able to pull it off, I do have a backup plan in the form of my Spectrier, Nightmare. Hope you guys enjoy that pun as well. Spectrier is here mainly to take advantage of the status I plan to spread throughout his team with Porygon 2 and Rotom-Heat. It doesn't matter if it's a burn or paralysis. I'm running Hex Spectrier. Well, Hex, Draining Kiss, Will-O-Wisp, and Calm Mind is my set. I have Will-O-Wisp to kind of, again, join Rotom-Heat in being able to burn things if the option is there. Especially since Spectrier does naturally outrun everything that is not named Deoxys-Speed. Calm Mind allows me to be able to set up, which with this investment actually does allow me to take some special hits at +1 from some of his special attackers. Hex, as I said, is meant to take advantage of all of the status I plan to spread throughout his team because a Hex off of this thing is really powerful. there is not a lot that really wants to take that. And for the things that resist Hex, that's what Draining Kiss is for. It allows Spectrier a way to stay healthy, especially since I'm running Boots to be able to get around all the hazards he could potentially try to set up on me. And gives me a Fairy attack to deal with the likes of Cyclozar and Krookodile. Krookodile, of course, resisting Hex, does not want to take Draining Kisses. And Cyclozar, if he goes Terra Normal or opts not to Terra, it is immune to Hex. But if he doesn't Terra, it doesn't want to be taking Draining Kisses, especially if I get a couple Calm Minds up. If he Terras into something else, and I get a status off on it, then we are once again at having free game with Hex. Behind screens, and with Grim Neigh on top of the Calm Mind, this Spectrier can very easily snowball if I pull off my strategy of spreading stats throughout his entire team and getting my screens up. It also helps that Spectrier actually has a bit of a secret function for this game. He has a lot of mons that could potentially run Brick Break, because I have Grimmsnarl, he probably expects screens. If I get screens up, and then switch in Spectrier, then because I'm a Ghost type and immune to fighting types, or immune to fighting type attacks, Brick Break doesn't do anything, which means my screens stay intact, and that is a door open for Spectrier to start potentially setting up and causing some issues. So that is a bit of a secret game plan there. But that is going to be our team as I go ahead and flip back over to our locker room. Our team just chilling out, relaxing, enjoying themselves, getting ready to have their first game under me. I'm really excited for this team I've built. I'm really excited to get to use this roster. And I am really looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. So, will we be able to beat Dye again and put him on the back foot to start the season? There's only one way to find out. So I'll see you guys when it's battle time. Alright, it is battle time! Dye and I with the rematch. Let's see how this plays out. So, he's bringing Deoxys Speed, Krookodile, Iron Hands, Ogerpon, Empoleon, and Cyclozar. And he did inform me Cyclozar is Terra Ghost as per the Terra Preview rules. So, just looking at this, no Enamorus is a little surprising, but I'm not, no Quillfish, no Deoxys, no Enamorus is actually, it's interesting, but I think this works. So I do believe Master Org, the Grimmsnarl, is my lead always in this scenario, because it works in the vast majority of the possible matches I could start off with. So we're just going to go ahead and get this going right out of the gate. So, good luck, have fun, Dye. This really feels like a primetime start to the season with the old playoff rematch. So let's see how it goes. As I'm going to lead with my Grimmsnarl, he is going to lead with the Ogerpon. Interesting. So, there's a couple of options here. I could taunt if he's SD. I feel like just going straight for the Reflect is my best play for starters, as he's going to switch, which works out perfectly fine for me. As now he goes into Empoleon, which I am all for that. I'm just going to go ahead and follow that up with a light screen. So I've got both screens set up and ready to go now. As he is going to set up rocks. That is fair. I probably should have expected that, but rocks are not the worst thing in the world, honestly. So he is probably a bulky rock setter. I do have both screens up, though. And I feel like I can just go into Pomni. Because I got my screens up. Grimmsnarl's job is done for the time being. And with Pomni, I can trace, hopefully, a competitive, and we can see how this plays out. So I do trace, and it is competitive! Oh, that is beautiful to see as he goes for Surf. So that Surf did absolutely nothing. He is competitive, so I do have that going for me now with Pomni. And I'm free to just go for a Discharge and start trying to spread Para through this team. As well as get a nice hit off on the Empoleon. And I do get the Para, which, on one hand, as he goes in and roars me out, okay. So, that is something I do need to be wary of in regards to my Metagross plan. Speaking of Metagross, we are out here a little earlier than I would like. But it's fine in the sense that I think I can just hit this thing with an Earthquake and kill it now. He's Shucka Berry. Okay. Not bad at all. So how do you respond to this? You just flip turn. That is fine with me. Yeah, that's fine. I know Empoleon's full set now. And plus, its Shucka Berry is off the table. And I do still have my screens up, so if it might be a bit early for this, but if I really want to, I could pull the trigger right now if I so desire. It would depend on what he goes into here. I am Clear Body, so if his Krookodile is Intimidate, that is not going to be an issue. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into Iron Hands to some degree. It depends, because for this to work, I need him to hit me with a super effective hit. He's got a lot of things that could be running knockoff to pull that off, such as the Ogerpon that has now come in. Which, at this point, I'm definitely going to go ahead and Agility up, as he does, in fact, go for the knockoff, which is going to proc my weakness policy, and we are in business. We are now in business. So, Terabyte, unless his Ogerpon is Scarfed, Metagross now outruns everything that is not named Deoxys speed, which I am all for. Well, I guess if he's running Scarf, Cyclozar as well, but Ice Punch definitely kills you, as he goes ahead and switches out into what? That is going to be the Empoleon, which is going to be able to eat up this Ice Punch. It does not take another Earthquake, though. So that is going to be Empoleon off the table, which I will definitely take. So my Reflect is gone. I do need to be wary of that. But Metagross is in a really good spot right now to rip his team wide open. Because unless he's running an extremely bulky mon... Okay. That tells me this thing may be Scarfed. But I can take another knockoff if that's what he wants to go for. Or if he's Stomping Tantrum, I can take that too. If he is a Scarf variant, which is exactly what he is. He is going to go for the Stomping Tantrum. Terabyte is able to eat that up. And this Ice Punch should kill Ogerpon. So, Ogerpon is not an issue anymore. Empoleon's not an issue anymore. Both of my screens are gone, but I do still have Grimmsnarl to set those back up if I want to go that route again later. But right now, Terabyte is in a really good spot, as he's going to go into Iron Hands, which is actually a really good plan on his part, because this is probably the only thing that, with its natural bulk, depending on if he invested it that way, which I wouldn't be surprised if he did, I'm gonna go for Earthquake. More Shuckaberry shenanigans. Okay. Kudos on that one. There's at least another Shuckaberry gone as he goes for Drain Punch to finish me off, which... fair enough. So... it does kind of suck that I didn't get the full-on Metagross sweep, but... I still have options. We still have a lot going for us right now. And knowing that he was Shucka is actually really good. So... knowing that you were in fact Shucka, and that is popped now... I think I'm gonna go back into Master Org, and we're gonna start this dance over again. So he revealed Drain Punch. I'm willing to go for a Taunt, just to keep him from trying to set up an SD to get around me pulling screens again. In case that is what he wants to go for, which... nope, he just goes straight Drain Punch. Completely fair. So, in that case, I'm just going to set up this Reflect now. So I have that going for me at the very least. As he just Drain Punches again. And... I could save Master Org here. I could save Master Org to come in on rocks and do more and set up one more screen later, potentially. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into Thermidor and start initiating my, the plan to get Spectrier set up as my new win con with Metagross down. I will take rocks, that is fine, I've got my leftovers. This Drain Punch is not going to do a whole lot, and I can just burn this thing with Will-O-Wisp, and we can go from there. So there is my Lefty's recovery. It is no longer taunted. I'm still going to Will-O-Wisp you anyway. And miss it, because of course I am. This had to even out somehow. He's just going for straight Drain Punches. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to Willow again, though, because I have little reason not to. Because nothing really wants to be burned right now. And if I burn this thing, I could potentially try to figure out something to make a setup fodder out of it with. In one form or another. He is going to switch now. Into... that is the Deoxys Speed. So burning this thing is actually kind of nice. Okay, so if you are Psycho Boost, which I would not be surprised if you are. How many turns of Reflect do I have left? I still have 4. Psycho Boost, I believe, is probably the only thing you could throw at me that kills me. So I'm going to go into Master Org to try to block that. Assuming you're an offensive Deoxys, which is possible. I do take rocks. He just sets spikes. So this is how he plans to try to get around this. He's more of the hazard stack set. Or I want to assume anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and taunt you then. So the extra hazards are going to be a bit of a problem, but it's fine. It is fine as he goes back into hands. Which, toning this thing is actually kind of fine. Just in case. And I'm just going to go ahead and initiate a play rough now to take a chunk out of this thing. Because it is kind of starting to become a pain. Take a huge chunk out of this thing. He just goes for a Thunder Punch to finish off Master Org. So, fair. I do see another move out of you. Which is perfectly fine. So, you are not statused, but you're in a spot where I could... It is incredibly tempting, and I don't think it's worth it. I honestly think my play here might be Pomni. Yeah, Pomni's gonna be my play here. Because I think I still have my Reflect up. Yep, I do still have one turn of Reflect, which is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and Terrastalize, and I'm going to recover up. And we're about to get the Pomni party started. Welcome to the amazing digital circus. If he wants to Drain Punch that... No, he's going to switch. Into what? Back into Deoxys, which, you know what? Completely fair. Oh, Quark Drive can't be traced. That is interesting. I didn't know that, actually. Regardless, I have pressure now, which I guess will kind of help in what Pomni is here to be an absolute nuisance about. I have my Terra popped off. And I'm going to be able to recover back up. As you're going to take more Burn Chip. There goes my Reflect, which is fine. I'm just going to go ahead and Terra Blast you. As he does knock off my Eviolite. Okay, that kind of sucks. But I think we can make... He's Life Orb. Interesting. Still, this Terra Blast should take a good chunk out of you. Well, I did say a good chunk. Hurt by the burn. I'm tempted to recover, thinking you might Psycho Boost now. Because I know I kill you with another Terra Blast. I'm going to recover, because I'm predicting you to go Psycho Boot. Nope, you're just going to set another layer of spikes. Okay, that's becoming a bit of a pain. Okay. I was honestly expecting a Psycho Boost. So that's a recover wasted. That kind of sucks. That is fine, though. I'm just going to go ahead and Terra Blast and take you out now. Zen Headbutt. So you're just a fully physical set. And that is the end of Deoxys' speed. So rocks and 2 layers of spikes. He does have me hazard stacked pretty good, which is gonna be a problem. But I think we can make it work. As he goes into Cyclozar now. Which is Air Balloon. And I know you're Terra Ghost, because we had to exchange Terra types beforehand. So what are you going to do? I'm tempted to discharge? You're probably going to Terra this turn. So I'm going to discharge and see if I can get the Para to try to set up Spectrier. So he does in fact Terra, which works out for me. I still think I take this thing on pretty nicely. It is Air Balloon, so this is at least going to somewhat hurt. Shift Gear! Okay, interesting. I haven't seen a Shift Gear Cyclozar. So if I can get a Discharge Para here, I do! I'm sorry for that tie, but... Spreading stat... Right. Oh, your Shed Skin. Okay. Noted. Okay, that is interesting. I don't know what to expect out of you now. That is partially concerning. I'm going to go ahead and Terra Blast anyway. As he goes Iron Head. Which Pomni is able to take. And I am able to at least get this Terra Blast off. Which does take a good chunk out of this thing. I will definitely take that. And as fun as it's been, I think it's time for the Amazing Digital Circus to retire for the day. You did good, Pomni. You did good. Okay, Shift Gear, Iron Head. Interesting. The fact that he actually pulled Shedskin too is impressive. So that creates a little bit of a problem. I don't know what exactly you... I'm curious as to what all you exactly are. I think Artemis is my play here. Yes, I am going to take a lot of hazard damage, but I should still be able to tank anything from this thing. He is Terra Ghost, but that's fine. Because I still kill with an Earthquake. Power... Oh, Power Whip and... Oh, I am sorry for that miss die. That... Depending on how much offensive investment you had, which I'm assuming is a pretty good amount, if you're a Shift Gear setup set, that probably definitely mattered. Ugh. Oh, I'm gonna feel that bad about that if I get this win. So Iron Hands is still around and a potential problem. Crook is still around. I think that's all he has left at this point, actually. Is Iron Hands and Krookodile. I would not be surprised if he Scarf Crook. But Ursaluna's kind of in a really good... is kind of in a good spot right now, honestly. As much as that... I'm not the happiest about that idea. As he does in fact go into Crook. Are you intimidate? You are not Intimidate. You are probably Scarf in that case. I would not be surprised. Let's see. Barring a crit, a close combat shouldn't kill. So I'm going to Drain Punch to get some HP back. Especially if you are, in fact, you just go Earthquake. That is fine. Artemis tanks that. I get this Drain Punch off, take a huge chunk out of you, get a lot of HP back. And... I'm gonna Drain Punch again. Yep, he doesn't go for Earthquake. That's fine. Artemis tanks that. This will definitely KO. And that is the end of Krookodile. So I believe all that remains is Iron Hands. Which I know does not have its Shuckaberry. I am at 235. Depending on his offensive investment, Drain Punch is a roll. I'd rather just go for the Earthquake on Artemis. I don't know if I outspeed or not. He does outrun me. And he does get the roll. Okay, okay. So, I would not be surprised. Okay, so... This is where things get iffy, because Iron Hands could legitimately win him this game if I'm not careful. Especially since I'm willing... Does Iron Hands get knockoff? Let me double check that, actually. I'm pretty sure it does. It does not! Interesting. Still, though, I would rather go into Thermidor and burn this thing, because if I burn this thing, that guarantees my win. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I burn this thing right now with Will-O-Wisp, I win this game. Thank you, Thermidor. Thank you. That burn is crucial. Oh. Alright, then. I see how it is. So if he's Rest Sleep Talk, I don't think... Depending on his investment, I don't think a Thunder Punch actually kills me. I'm going to Overheat to take a chunk out of this thing regardless. And test the waters to see if he is, in fact, Rest Sleep Talk. He is. Okay. That confirms that. He gets Thunder Punch. Alrighty. That is completely fine. I'm gonna Overheat again. Just to chip this thing down. Because if the Sleep Talk roll right now puts the... Oh, he doesn't go for Sleep Talk this turn. That is actually really clever on his part, not gonna lie. I'm just gonna keep spamming Overheat. I wanna see if he goes for Rust again. I'm still putting this thing in a position where I could potentially get the win with Spectrier. He does, in fact, go for Rest again. You know what? That is actually perfectly fine with me. I am completely fine with that, honestly. Well, not really if you want me to be perfectly honest, but... I'm going to Volt Switch out for some chip, and we're going to see if we can somehow try to make this work. So that is at least going to reset you. We are going to go into Nightmare, who is Boots. So I'm not going to have to worry about hazards. The only roll he can get with Sleep Talk that is of any worry to me is Thunder Punch. And I should be able to take it with my investment. He gets Rest again. So he is asleep. So I believe Hex should be a 2-shot. Yeah, that looks like... With the Volt Switch chip, I think it's a 2-shot. And I think Spectrier might be able to bring this home from here. Especially since he gets Rest again. Yeah, Thunder Punch wouldn't have KO'd me anyway, because I actually did put bulk on this thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and Hex again. And I think Nightmare's going to be able to salvage this game for us. And we're going to get out of here with a 2-0 win. Because, yeah, he has to get the history. He does survive. And he does rest again. Alright, then. So that is clutch on his part. I will give him that. I'm gonna risk a Calm Mind. Because I can take a Thunder Punch if he rolls that. Because, yeah, he has a 1 in 3 shot of rolling the only move he has that actually hurts me. And he does, in fact, get it. That is fine. Actually, what I can do, I can Draining Kiss to get myself out of Thunder Punch range in case he rolls it again. And now he... Yeah, I can live another Thunder Punch from here if he rolls it again. And he is in range where a Hex should be able to kill from this range. He gets Drain Punch, which does not faze me. So I'm just going to go for Hex now, and... This time we do it! GG Die. That was an incredible game. Definitely a lot closer than the last time we played. Okay, so I didn't fully play to the game plan that I had set up. I tried to, but being able to adapt on the fly when the game plan does fall apart is another part of draft, and I think we pulled it off quite well. The fact that Spectrier was able to kind of be my last-ditch savior as opposed to kind of snowballing like I had initially planned it to, I mean, I'll take it. Because that is one use of Spectrier. It is fast and it hits hard. That is what it's here for. To save my bacon when it really counts. Oh boy. I am actually shaking from that game. That was... what a way to start the season, huh? Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you. GG again to Die for the incredible game. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I have been Ruppy, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.